Hey. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first Wins Books Publishing panel of the year. I am your host and founder and publisher, Winnie, or Winifred, whichever you prefer. And I'm so excited because we have an amazing panel today of other Wins Books Publishing authors and writers who are going to be sharing their experiences about writing and publishing with you. Again, I am so excited and happy to have you guys here. Please make sure if you have any questions or comments to leave them down in the comment section. I'll be happy to read them and also ask our authors what they think about your questions and comments too. So without further ado, let's welcome in our panelists. Hey everyone.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
Hello.
And
Good evening. How are you all?
well,
good.
how is everyone?
Good, cannot complain. But before we get started on our panel called The Ink of Imagination, I want to first give y'all time to introduce yourselves to everybody. And I'm going to go to my right. So we'll start off with R.A. Barber. Please introduce yourself, your writing, and what you do.
Well, I'm R.A. Barber, and this is my first live anything on the internet, so please be kind to me. I am writing the Ashley Terrace series. I have just finished the first of what is supposed to be a 6-book series, and Winnie was gracious enough to take a chance on me, and I am so excited to go down this road. It's always been a dream to have something published, to be able to see my words in print, and I'm just really, really excited to have gotten that chance.
Welcome. And
It's
again,
probably
I'm
going
so
to be the shortest
excited.
intro you get.
I know, because you have so much going on. You help run a theater, you are an actor, like a screenwriter, like don't.
I'm not quite screenwriter. Like we haven't gotten that far yet.
I'm claiming it for
But
you.
no,
You're going to be that soon.
no,
Or excuse me, playwright.
I am very heavily involved with our local community theater, Pine Tree Playhouse. For whoever is in the Midlands of South Carolina or even out, please take a trip. We'd love to have you. I direct, I write, I act there. I have gotten so many good opportunities. I'm to express myself there, and it's been amazing. So yeah, I mean, just kind of trying to do a little bit of everything for that outlet. So.
Yes, I love it. And speaking of doing a little bit of everything, I'm happy to also introduce Michelle. Michelle, so please let everyone know what you do because you do a lot too. I'm excited.
Hello, this is very exciting. I've never done a writing panel. I've waited my whole life to do this, so you guys have all made my day. So Winnie, thank you. Thank you for taking a chance on my little book and putting it out there, and I'm just honored to be among everyone here. So thank you, Winnie. Thank you, everybody here. I'm excited to see what stories we're all going to share. And as far as what I do, I have blogs about coffee. So coffee, I have a podcast, coffee-centric podcast. I write for I'm going to call it an underground magazine, but it's not completely underground. So like I said, I do a little bit of everything. I too, like you, RA, am trying to put my little stamp everywhere with as far as being creative. And this is also really cool. I'm going to be turning 55 in a couple of days. So this is really cool to be doing this before my 55th birthday. So thank you so much.
That is an accomplishment.
Yes, and happy early birthday, Michelle. Oh, yes. And Angel, I think you two also had a birthday just passed,
Yeah.
or is coming. Okay, yes, I know. We're in the birthday season. I love it. And of course, I just started. So, Angel, take it away. Tell us about yourself and what you write.
Yes, good evening, everyone. And I guess I'm going to jump on a bandwagon as well. And thank you, Winnie, also for the opportunity. This is my first panel as well. So, again, I am extremely excited to be amongst you, beautiful writers and authors. So it's truly an honor. So I'm really grateful to be here. So, I am a creative nonfiction writer, also an inspirational / faith-based writer. I'm also the podcast host of Scrabble House Podcast, where I also talk about spiritual things, just basically a faith based teaching podcast. And I'm also a publisher of Scrabble House Publishing as well. And I'm just excited to be here. I'm grateful. And I'm also the co author of the new spring release for authors who dream, which is also a structural tool for new and upcoming writers and authors who's also are seasoned. But this tool is great for anyone that wants to increase their learning abilities, their writing abilities. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me for right now.
Yes, Angel. And as you mentioned, we co-wrote a book together for Writers Who Dream. It came out last week, so super happy and blessed for
Yeah.
that. And again, thank y'all. Last but not least, we have Tia Lachey, who I love. I'm not trying to be biased, but I do love your name, Tia Lachey.
Look, I was
You
gonna
know,
say
just rolls off the tongue.
say it out loud.
So,
It gets a different ring.
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you, Winnie. Well, yes, like she said, I'm Tia Lachey. I will be getting my book put out for the first time, Question of Affection, in August of this year with Wynn's Books. I'm a first time author, first time panel member, first time everything literary, and really excited to be amongst you all as well. I'm a podcaster as well. I am a lover of performance art, RA, so I love to see shows, and Charleston is like one of my favorite places. I am a Charlestonian, born but not raised, but currently living here. And I am a very deeply empathetic Scorpion woman. So very excited to see you guys today.
I love
Yes,
it.
we got gems. Yes, I love it. But yes, kind of to now just jump into it and our questions. Again, y'all watching, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and I'll be sure to get to them. But starting off with our first question, I want to ask you all what inspired your writing journey? What started it? I'm going to go now backwards. So I'm going to start with you, Tia. So, what inspired your writing journey?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really my childhood that inspired my writing because I was always a very introspective child. I was raised as an only child and I was a latchkey kid as well. So I spent a lot of time at home creating in my mind. So I would watch TV shows and that really got my creative juices flowing. And I used to play, still do play, a game called The Sims, which is basically all about creating narratives. And so that's really what inspired me to start writing. And it just kind of developed as I developed throughout my journey of personal development.
Okay.
Wonderful. And yes, I think we all know about The Sims and the chaos that can actually ensue from it too. I have some friends who played. I'm like, girl, are you guys okay? Because I thought I did my characters bad. Y'all
I used to love getting the generations down as far as you could go. I think the farthest I got was like 5 generations.
That's pretty impressive.
it is. Oh no, I do enough character building. I don't think I could handle. I don't think my heart could handle Sims.
That's funny.
Yes.
But then you can
yes,
play out your stories using The Sims.
Exactly.
that is true. But I do a lot of that is true. Now that I'm thinking, that is true. But do I? Let me put a pin in that. You might have convinced me. I'm like, actually, no, he has a point. But yes, Angel, same question to you. You know, what inspired your writing journey?
Yes, I can also relate my childhood as well. But interesting, mine started out off, and I talk about this a little bit in the book as a punishment from the 3rd grade. So in the 3rd grade, my teacher used to make us write the dictionary out when the class was, of course, out of order. So it was crazy. I ended up loving to write the dictionary, but I kind of held it as a secret. Like, who wants to write the dictionary? But something about writing a dictionary, I had my paper all stacked up, have my pen. I'm like, I'm writing word for word, all neat. I don't know what it was doing to me, y'all, but it just made me so excited, so happy. So that transformed into me writing journals. So, of course, I'm journaling about my days at school, the little boys. I'm like, what, all the good stuff that I can't talk to anybody about. And what I realized that the more I wrote, I end up having creative poems within my journaling every day. So what I ended up doing, basically, I didn't know it, but that was the birth of my first book, Raindrops of Inspiration. So honestly, it started from my childhood, literally writing a dictionary. That love for dictionary writing ended up transforming into my love for journaling. And it was actually over with from there. And of course, as far as school, I love English and literature class. And I just love the creativeness behind writing. I can journal my feelings and, not verbally talk to anyone about it, but somehow journaling gave me such a peace and such a healing. So I really love that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do something with this. And it was, again, I ended up becoming a writer and an author, and it ended up working out, but it initiated from writing the dictionary. So, it's so funny to me, but true story. So,
Yes,
yeah.
I love. Listen, when I was a kid, I used to love a thesaurus. I used to have a little pocket thesaurus,
Oh
and just
man, I thought
don't
I was
know
so
why. I'm like,
bad.
ooh, what's another
Yeah,
word for nice? Like,
yes, yes, yes. Like I felt so crazy. Like I felt weird, out of place. Like who likes to write the dictionary? Who likes to actually study the dictionary? Literally study. Like, oh, I got to study. What you study, girl? I'm studying the dictionary. What you studying? So yeah, it was something about it. Yeah, for sure. So I'm glad I have somebody else that can relate to that.
yes, I trust me. I love a good thesaurus. I
Okay.
I love to switch up just simplest words. Like, let me see how many times I can change the
Okay.
word sweet. Like I
How smart I can sound. Right. Let me see how smart I can sound.
exactly can't even pronounce the words, but I'm still
Okay. Look, you
trying.
Googling pronunciation. You Googling pronunciation.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
But yes, next to our next writer and slash author too, Michelle, please tell us about your writing journey, how it started, and how it came to be.
So I'm gonna piggyback on both of you guys. I too was a latchkey kid and an only child, and so I spent a lot of time in my head at home, creating stories and playing games in quiet. Like I literally would play a board game and I would just sit there and just move things, but everything was in my head. I was like, okay, green, you go. Okay, now roll the dice. So I would just have this story going in my head, but you never heard anything.
Right.
So my childhood I describe my childhood as a very quiet childhood. And then to piggyback on Angel, I love going to the dictionary and reading new words. And I would do that. Like, I don't remember what age I was, but I would pick the dictionary up. I would pick a word and I'd be like, okay, today I'm going to learn a new word. And today's word is, I don't know, paparazzi.
Right.
So I'd be like, okay, whether I did anything with it or not that wasn't the point. Was just to open the dictionary, pick a word. So I love that your teacher did that. So that's really cool. But
Right.
my writing
Mhm.
journey is kind of odd, because as a child, I wanted to be a writer, and I had all of this creativity, but it was actually kind of stifled and suppressed. And the family was like, no, you're going to get a real job and you have to do real things. You can't make a living being a writer. So fast forward, I finally got my master's degree at 40. And then I got paid to actually be a technical writer. So I actually didn't start getting paid to be a writer until I was 42. Um,
Okay.
and then I'll never forget. My best friend actually had to tell me. She was like, "You're finally getting paid to write," and I was like, "You're right. This is awesome."
Oh, yes.
So my writing journey came very late. So I do very technical things, but now I get to just sing praises about coffee and how coffee is
Yeah.
life. So that's what
Right.
I do now.
That's cool.
Yes. Well, I'm on the opposite camp of Tia's life because I love me some tea. And tea, I think we've talked about my love of tea a lot. So, but again, that's amazing, Michelle. I love that all of us are just like dictionaries and
Yeah.
thesauruses are the way to go. Now, RA, I want to see if you also have similarities with, and I mean, he's looking like, girl, no.
About the dictionary. No, like I think it's so cute and wholesome, but that was not me. But it's hilarious. I don't know how you accidentally did this, but like everyone's like, I was an only child and youngest of six grandchildren. Like, and just like, Tia, Michelle said, like, that gives you a lot of time to use your own imagination to, fill time because, like, there were no other kids around. I had friends and my parents had friends who had kids. So, we would get together and we would play. And a lot of times when we would, like, I was usually the one coming up with these elaborate like stories, not just like, just playing in the yard. Like we were making up stories. And usually they were like ongoing. Like we would keep the plot going the next time, we were together and everything. And I just always loved using my imagination and telling stories. I can even remember I can't remember exactly what was going on, but there was some kind of big something going on and I must have been like 10-ish and I wrote like a fictionalized version of it. And I can remember my mama saying like this is how he processes stuff. Like he has to create with it. And that's kind of always stuck with me. So I just, I would write short stories and I would think it would come to me and I would just try to put it down.
Yes, that's amazing. I love that there is so much intersectionality with everybody. Ironically, I have a younger brother, so I did not grow up as an only child. So I
You
had
don't
someone
know
to
the
yap my stories
struggle.
to.
You don't know the struggle.
I don't. I know. I had someone to yap to. Albeit I also yap to my parents a lot, and they're like, "Girl, please write this. Stop. We need to put this on paper." I was like,
Right.
"Okay,"
That's
but
fine.
that's amazing. Yes, and kind of talking about struggles. I know we've joked about this about being on the struggle bus when it comes to writing. So I want to talk to you guys about what have been your struggles with writing and publishing so far. And Tia, I'm going to start back with you.
Okay. Yes, it has been one long struggle because everything is so new. So I wrote Question of Affection over 10 years ago and then picked it back up when I met Winnie at a poetry event and thought, oh, this is nice. Maybe I can submit a manuscript and publish a book. And so I just went in totally green, had no idea what the editing process would look like. And it's very, very rigorous. And so it's just been really tough for me to kind of just get acclimated to having to be on a schedule to continue to like progress the book forward when I'm feeling like that creative fatigue. There are times where I think like my confidence as a first time author is very much so in question because I have this like back of my head fear chronically that my mom is going to be the only one to purchase this book. And so that, that definitely eats at me. So just kind of like trusting the process, trusting Winnie, trusting Wynn's books, which is a powerhouse already, and just being open to understanding that like this is something I'm doing for fun. This is something that I'm doing because it's a passion that I have has helped me to overcome that. But it's a journey. I'm still on it.
I know. It's so funny because I always kind of tell all the writers, I'm like, hey, editing is gonna be long. And you're like, I know my book. And then a few weeks in, everyone's like, girl, I'm tired. Like,
Yes,
can
it's
we
a lot.
please?
But it's good. It's so good. The book has changed so much for the better.
Yes. But yes, it's always hopefully always better when editing is concerned. But Angel, you kind of have, of course, a different story because you're also a publisher, and then also self-published like myself. So you're coming into this have a different perspective. I know too, same with you, Michelle, also being self-published. But yeah, Angel, same question. What
Yeah.
have been your struggles?
Okay, so my first book actually I published in 2011. So it's 2011. My first book came out. Then I published another book in 2012. So I will say for me, thinking back, my struggle was real, y'all. I had this thought I was going to be like this overnight success. I had this thought that I was going to be somebody. And no calls, no emails, nobody's coming through, to inquire about this masterpiece that I devoted my time, my energy, and my heart into. So that took a toll on me. And it took so much of a toll on me that I didn't write again until about 10 years later, because I felt like, this book didn't do good. My expectations were so high. But when I pick up my book now, my first book, I'm like, girl, you are not ready. People did you a favor. You was not ready. You wasn't ready. Thank you, God. I didn't set out to do a book signing, all the things, because I was not ready. And I was so focused on, the other things, like, the book signings, the overnight status. And obviously none of those things came until way later, until I became settled within myself and said, you know what, this is a passion. This is something that I love to do. Like what you're saying, Tia, this is something I love to do. It's okay if no one's banging down my door to purchase a book. I did it because I love to write. But it was a real humbling experience for me. Like I told Wendy, we discussed a little bit earlier, it was the trenches for me. I mean, because I didn't know what I was doing, even though my first book, I did go through a publishing house and it was okay. But once I really realized what they did, I could do on my own. It was better, but again, with me doing everything on my own, it was a little bit more challenging. However, I was able to do it minus the success, But it's also similar to you, Michelle. I would say my first paid writing job wasn't until I became a note taker at a college. So I was way older as well, but I loved it, being able to help people. And it was really, really satisfying. But I just think my expectations were so high, and I kind of got distracted from my passion to, okay, this is not going the way I want it to go. Therefore, I'm not writing anymore. This is dumb. And then like I said, when I got over that, I picked the pen back up and started back writing. And then that's when things began to fall in place, because my heart was different. My motive was different, as opposed to before just going in it, I'm about to make some money. You know what I mean? I like to write, but I'm making this money too. And I didn't make no money. Okay. I didn't make no money. So, and wasn't nobody, again, reaching out, trying to get up. Like, what you writing about? None of those things occurred for me. But until I just had a different heart posture and, dedication. I was really dedicated to my craft, and that's when things really started to fall in line. But I just think the struggle bus was just my expectations was just over the roof. It was hard, y'all. It was hard. And I was disappointed a lot of years, obviously per 10 years. I was just disappointed. And it's like, girl, nobody did that to you, but you did it to yourself, You did it to yourself. But looking back, I'm grateful. I learned a lot from it, and it made me honestly a better writer. So I hope that helped. I hope that helped.
Somebody. Yeah, definitely. I was in the same boat with you. 2019. I started my social media December 2018. I published my first book 2019 January, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be on New York Times bestseller by tomorrow. I'm going to have everyone call me up in New York and Atlanta and LA. A week passed. I'm like, why am I not a millionaire? What? Why does no one know I wrote a book and published it? Hello? And then I realized, I was like, girl, you didn't tell nobody but your family and your 4 friends. Like, that was who was gonna read it? That's
it. Exactly.
Mind you, most of my family is spread all over the US and Cameroon, Africa. So I was like, this was not the best plan. So I definitely understand the struggle of wanting to publish yourself and do everything, but also understanding when you're doing everything, you're doing everything. So it's the marketing, it's the editing, it's finding your cover designer, it's budgeting with them, it's setting up timelines and, I always say I'm the test dummy. So then it's all good for everybody else in the publishing company. So we're not just, throwing things on the wall and hoping they stay.
Right.
But yes, Michelle too. I know you call it a lot punk rock publishing that you did when you first published your book. So of course now it's your turn to talk about your struggles with publishing or writing and how you overcame them.
So, yeah, the best way to describe it is punk rock but here's the thing. I'm proud of, because I don't consider it a failure. It was something that I had never done before. I'd never self-published. I didn't know what I was doing. I did my best. I attempted to do it. So that's why it felt very punk rock. I set a timeline for myself. I hit that goal. And I too was wondering why no one was calling me, why I was not on Jimmy Fallon's show. I thought it was brilliant. And I thought that because it was punk rock, it was just going to be even that much better. And then I was like, you know what, maybe I should really get serious about this and have some professional look at it and have someone who has a better idea who actually does this for a living. So it's funny because the punk rock version compared to the final version, that I know it's going to be like night and day. And it's growth. It's all about growing. That's the way I look at it. It's, you grow as a writer, you grow as an artist. So, be proud of your, again, I don't want to call it a failure because it's not a failure, but it's kind of like when you start in ceramics class and the very first thing you make is this god awful ashtray. It's kind of like that. And now I feel like I have this, more polished piece of art that I can actually say, hey, look at this. Right. I made this, and there's a team behind it. So being in the trenches sucked, but I'm proud I did it. I'm proud to have gone through that experience. I hope to never have to do that again. As far as I'm concerned, Winnie, you can publish all 8 of the books that I have coming that are in here. So I'll have you if you have me. So there you go.
Oh yeah. I preface none of y'all going anywhere. Y'all stuck with me. Y'all are stuck with me. But yes, Michelle, I love that you talk about how it's not just, the struggle, but it's growth. It's growing pains. It's, it's something new you did or we've done and, you've learned from it. You've grown from it. You understand it better now. And now you can talk about it without being as frustrated as you probably were when you're like, Jimmy, why haven't you called? Why haven't you emailed me yet? Did you not get that I published my book 2 months ago? What happened? But yes, and kind of now going over to RA, you are having your book published soon. And we're kind of now, of course, in the final steps of it. So kind of talk about what was the hardest part so far for you with writing and publishing?
I mean, I feel like the hardest part, or the biggest struggle for me has just always been me. Because it's so funny. And I think I said this when we were talking before, listening to y'all talking about the trenches and everything. And I commend your bravery because I didn't have it. I kind of always thought yeah, this is good, but this is not, I never thought it was going to do. I never had the I'm going to end up on the Jimmy Fallon show. I never told myself that. I was just maybe somebody will read it. And I wrote, for this one specifically, I wrote the first chapter in 2015. And then for whatever reason, I just didn't go back to it for years. And it wasn't until I had a friend read it and she's like, you know what, this is kind of good. And then I wrote the next couple, and it seemed like I always needed to have somebody reading it to encourage me to finish it. I was always like, would you like to read this Word document that I have been working on? Would you like to tell me if it's good or not? So, and even when it was done and I was so proud of it. It wasn't until like another friend read it. Shout out Becky. You are always going to get the credit for this because Becky is a mutual friend of me and Winnie, and she read it and she's just said, this is so good. Like I know a friend who's in publishing. Let me send this to her, and now I'm here. So for me, like the biggest struggle has just been kind of telling myself I can do it because I'm lucky enough that if the chips had not fallen, like if I had not been giving that opportunity, I wouldn't be sitting here. So I commend your bravery. I almost feel like I'm not worthy to sit beside you after everything you've done.
No, you definitely are. It's again,
Yeah.
it's a process and it's
Mhm.
different for everyone. And like the perspective of having a traditional publisher versus doing it yourself. Like y'all stress more about editing than I do because I'm literally like, I'll get done when it gets done. Like, but on your side, you're like, I'm like, hey, bestie, we got a deadline. We got 2 months. We got 3 months. We got a month. You got 2 weeks. So, the stressors and what's, again, feeling that, oh man, if I publish, who's going to read this? Whereas we're like, oh man, we published. Why isn't everyone reading this? So
Okay.
it's, seeing that different perspectives. And again, talking about, we got a question from Angela, which I thought was awesome. She asks, "What is your top 3 tips or advice to aspiring writers who hope to achieve your level of success one day?" Yes, thank you, Angela. Well, I will say, I know me and Angel talked about it a little bit about just taking out aspiring writer. You're a writer. Don't let anyone say you're aspiring to be. You already are. And I'm going to again kick it back to Tia. What tips or advice do you have for any writers out there?
Yeah, that's an intimidating question for a first time author. So let's define level of success. Let's start there. Okay. So success means that Winnie wanted to publish my novel, right? I completed a novel. Yeah. And I'm going,
Yes.
and I
I'm right there with you, so we're going to count that as success right now.
that's success. That's
Yes.
success. I would say the tip for me would be to follow your heart, like follow your passion, and let that be your guide. Right? Not because you're trying to achieve a goal, right? Because you have a story to tell. And I think that the success will find you. So that's kind of how it happened for me. I wrote this novel because I cared about the story. And then the universe put me in the right place at the right time where I was able to meet Winnie and bring it to life. And so if you just focus on the passion, I think that the space will find you.
Yes, I love that. And I think it kind of harpers to what Angel was saying. It is a passion. It's not just for, the money. You're doing this because you love to write and you love to create and you want to share that love with other people. I love that. You put it so well. Oh,
Yes, she
yes.
did.
Yes. Well, Angel, your turn. Answer.
Yeah, I was my first tip or advice to you would be to first of all identify what does success mean to you. Obviously, a lot of people measure success so differently. So I think really having a core foundation of what success looks like for you, not no one else, not your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your friends, for you, and that will really carry the weight much stronger once you identify what a success looks to you, because you may think that you have to do more to accomplish some things that you may not have to do. So I think just getting clear of what success looks like will really help you stay grounded. And also, and I know this may be easier said than done, but honestly, be authentic, please, because a lot of times, especially for first time writers, we're afraid of our own voices, because why? We're comparing, we're measuring other writers, people that we admire. So a lot of times we may try to mimic their writing style. So the best thing I can say is to be yourself. Let your true authentic voice be heard through your writing, and that will help you, and that will also connect you to the people that you're will connect you to your audience, excuse me, and it's going to connect you to the people that's for you, that's for your type of writing, where you don't have to search for them. They're going to come looking for you, like, oh, I love her writing style. So once you identify your own writing style, who you truly are as a writer, that's going to really change your perspective on writing so much. So identify what success looks like for you and be authentic. That's what I would say.
Yes, authenticity is number one. It's what the A in author stands for. It's it's like the
Right. Okay.
catalyst for everything.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yes. Yes. So again to you, Michelle, do you have any, tips or advice you would have for writers who are trying to gauge their or achieve what you would see as your level of success?
The ladies nailed it. I totally agree with both Tia and Angel. As far as my punk rock version, like the fact that people did buy it, like that to me was a success. Jimmy Fallon not calling me, obviously, I'm not going to use that as my gauge of success. But the fact that, someone else out there read it, some strangers bought it, because obviously, my friends, like it's different with friends. So for me, as far as I was concerned, like that is, I reached success with that punk rock version. With this version, I'm gonna have a lot more goals. I have goals. I have my own KPIs, key performance indicators, for things that where I want to be with, this particular. I do it with the podcast, with my blogs, newsletter things. So I do have my own. So again, this is to Angel's point. I do have my own idea of what success means to me, and authentic. It's my own voice. It's silly. Are my blogs for everyone? No, but I'm also doing it for me. So that's to Tia's point. Like I write for me. This is my story. This is what makes me happy. This is why I do what I do. And it took a long time to get to that point. So I would say, don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to piggyback on what the previous author said and add, don't give up. Don't ever give up.
For sure.
Yes. Just keep writing. It When the manuscript is done, it'll be done. Just keep writing. You got this. And RA, you're our final question for this, or final author for this question. Do you have any tips or advice for writers, especially since you write in multiple different avenues, whether it be for the theater, whether it be for your books? Yeah, any tips or advice do you have?
I mean, just so I completely agree with what everyone said about, knowing your own level of success, knowing what would make you happy. But the biggest two things I would say is, for one, just do it. Like just write. Just try. Just once, if you have that story inside you, just get it out. And secondly, don't let anyone tell you how to do it. Everybody's writing journey, everybody's writing style, the way they get from point A to point B is not going to be the same. And if you're relying on, what you should do or what you're being told you should do, and it's just not working for you, that can be really disheartening. That can push you away from actually finishing what you set out to do. So just do it the best you can. Know what makes you happy.
Love everyone's answers. These are so beautiful. I think, again, I'm going to piggyback off the four of y'all and say yes. Everyone is a yes. What they said, yes. But yeah, y'all did such as someone who, again, has been writing. I'm still young, but writing younger. And always had people go, "Oh, well, are you gonna, like, can you do that? Can you actually, again, make money? Can you make this a career? Is it something that you can do? It's for profit?" And it's like, well, yes, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I have these stories in my head and I want people to connect with them. I want people to hear them, and if that's 5 people, 50 people, 550,000, so be it. But my main part is, writing is my way of connecting with others, through a different avenue of art. So it's, when you feel like you can write and you're connecting, or you're writing and you're talking to a friend, I think that's the best advice I could give everyone. Just, connect with your writer or connect with your readers and connect with yourself as a writer. Why do you want to write? What do you want to write? And also hire a professional editor. Please. And
Amen. Amen to that.
and speaking of editing and editors, my favorite question, how has editing feedback and critiques influenced your writing? Tia, I'll start with you first.
Yeah. Ask for help. That is definitely like sermon. But I think that editing, the greatest form of help in the process of writing the novel, has been the hardest part, but also the most beneficial part because it allows me to broaden the perspective of the novel. Like I'm writing it through my perspective, through my eyes, through what I understand the characters to be. But I think the beauty of editing is that you get feedback from people as they are understanding the characters, which allows me to grow them, right? Because there are certain questions that might be asked that I might not have thought of. And it requires me to really just kind of see the characters as multidimensional. And so my book has changed a lot. I have rewritten chapter after chapter, and I'm still going through the trenches, Winnie, as you know. So editing has been very greatly influential on telling a better story and making rounder, fuller, dynamic characters.
Yes, most certainly. I am someone I hope I kind of encourage y'all to, not just take everything the editor says and just run with it. Like, have some pushback, don't agree. It's still your story. You're the author, you know where you want to take it. So, I always encourage to have that, dialogue and, talk to your editor. Say, hey, actually I don't want to change this. That's fine. It's your story. Unless it's something where I'm like, hey, we could get sued. Can you please take this out? If it's if it's something like that, then yeah, then I have to put on the publisher hat and go like, hey babes, no. We actually do have to reel this one in. But yeah, same to you, Angel. Again, editing process, how's it for you? How's it changed your writing or influenced your writing?
Sure. I will say initially, for me, I was really afraid of editing, with the thought process of, oh my gosh, this editor is going to chop up my writing. They're going to steal my voice. I'm not going to recognize my writing. So that was really a fear that I had until I just said, you know what? I need help. I'm tired of going through this after I've tried to self edit over and over and over. Um, I was so enthralled with the transformation that editing had on my writing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is phenomenal. How could I not get it edited? Because again, like Tia said, it just magnifies that manuscript and like, oh my goodness, I didn't think of, I couldn't have thought of using that word or rearranging that sentence like that. So just to see the transformation really gave me more confidence in my writing in the aspect of, Angel, it's okay. You don't have to have it figured all out and you don't have to do everything. And it was very humbling. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you know what? I'm going to continue to hire someone to edit my work. But it was very humbling. It just showed me that I don't have to have it all right. And I think that was a fear I had coming from a perfectionist mindset. I wanted to do everything, have it all right, look a certain type of way, and allowing someone else to come in and rearrange my wording. And the transformation again was beautiful. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was scared for nothing. But again, I think it was such a humbling experience. It just really showed me again, I did not have to do everything. It's okay. It's like what you said. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay. No, you're not going to get fined. Well, you will get fined, but because you got to pay that, you got to up that money to get it right. But overall, it was a humbling experience. So it taught me a lesson about myself more than anything. It's okay to ask for help. And, if you want your manuscript, your book to look a certain type of way, you're going to have to invest in getting, upgrades to your work. And again, it's okay. It's okay.
Yes, as someone who always, I don't know if as more books come out, if I'm getting better at self editing or if I'm just ignoring more mistakes. Definitely, always asking for. I'm telling you, I'm like, how do you there. Okay, the apostrophe. Yeah, I put it right. I think so. Let's.
Yeah.
We'll ask the editor when they get there. But
Right.
yeah, same question to, of course, Michelle. How has editing so far impacted, your writing and what you've learned?
So I was very much looking forward to an editor because with the punk rock version, I could not edit. They were PDF screenshots from a website that no longer existed. So every time somebody did read it and they're like, you will have an editor with an, and I'm like, yes. I'm like, I can't fix that. That's why it's the punk rock version. Like, you just have to accept that spelling, that misspelled word. But I was afraid because I thought, good Lord, how big of a task is this going to be for the editor? Because we have so much to quote fix and arrange. So I was excited and I had fear, but mostly I was just excited because I didn't want to have anybody else say, you're going to have an editor, right? Like, I just didn't want to hear those words anymore. I'm like, yes, I'm like, that, please stop harping on that. Just focus on the coffee. Focus on the story.
Right.
But
That's
like,
what's
just
important.
walk the aroma of the beans. Like, please,
That's what I
it's
should have
slowly
done.
and
Scratch and
roasted.
sniff.
It's yes.
Yeah, but no.
It's
So as far as I'm so happy and grateful to have an editor. So I don't have a, it's not, I have no hate at all. I have nothing but love for the editor.
Yes, I know. I definitely, again, as someone who thinks she is becoming a great editor, she's not, but someone who thinks she is, I truly appreciate all the editors under Wins Books Publishing. They're all amazing. And speaking of amazing editors, shout out to our A Barber's editor, Samantha, because she's great. And, again, same question, RA, like, how has, collaborating and working with Samantha, editing been for you, and have you seen impacts and changes in your own writing?
Honestly, it was so much fun. Like, and I didn't expect that. I wasn't as afraid of it, because like, I'd had, you talked about writing plays. I'd had a couple of plays like not published, but performed at my college back, and the director was kind of the editor in that case. Like, when you're first workshopping a play, and I was a lot more protective of my writing then, like, why would we change this? But the changes that came in made that little play so much better. So I wasn't as afraid of it going in. I thought it was going to be a lot more straight laced than it was. And I think that's why it was so much fun, because like, our chats with, Winnie and Samantha and me, they were so, uplifting, and, Samantha loved it. And we'd bounce ideas off of each other. And, of course, she didn't hide the changes or the mistakes that needed to be fixed, but she made it a point to, enjoy it with me, to go down that road. And one of the biggest things was I think when I was going through all of the comments, all of the 400 plus comments to get to where we are, I was kind of afraid of not accepting or not like doing what she asked. And because I was like, oh, she's she put all this effort into it. She's going to hate it if I don't take her suggestion. So I really had to also talk to myself about, well, they keep telling you this is still your writing, and remembering that. And the kind of the middle ground that we came to between her suggestions and my originals, or something I thought has really, made it into such a better product that I'm so proud of. It's head and shoulders above that 2015 first chapter in so many ways.
Yes,
I also got to learn a lot about point of view, and when you capitalized said, Samantha, I hope you're watching, and I'm still sorry about that.
It's okay. I know it's fun because when like on both sides, like sometimes the editors will be like, "Do you think the author's gonna hate me because I keep like editing?" I'm like, "No, they're good." And then the writers, y'all will be like, "Do you think the editor's gonna hate me because I don't agree with everything?" I'm like, "No, it's fine.
I,
Like
I
you're
will
human. We're
say,
all human. It's okay."
I will say, when I saw the amount of comments on, listed, and Samantha even told me, she's like, for the level, for the word count, like, this is not honestly that many. I procrastinated so long to do that because it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. I think I got through like 10, and then just like, I'll come back to it in like 3 months.
Again, this is why we have deadlines to make sure we still have everything good to go. But yes, I know it again, especially when it's your first time writing and being sent it off to a professional publisher or, excuse me, editor. It can be a bit daunting when you do kind of get those bulk edits and you're like, oh, like, is it that bad? Or, and then you start reading it. And then sometimes it's just comments like, oh my gosh, I love, your wordplay with this. Or, oh my gosh, I love this description. You're like, oh, okay, it's not, it's not as bad as I thought. And, I tried to make it a note to make sure that the editors were, supportive and open-minded and willing to work with the writers, because I've heard horror stories of editors going in and just butchering manuscripts, like just like, I mean, red lining saying this is terrible, just you need to do this over, can you even write? And it's like, goodness. I just asked you to fix my my can't and my cannot, like, please. I didn't ask for all of this.
Oh my god, right. Yeah, funny.
Is yeah, kind of going with that. Next question is, kind of like how RA said, he procrastinated a bit. Like, how do you stay motivated when it comes to writing? And also stay inspired to continue the story, or even how did you stay inspired to continue your story before you sent it off to me? Tia, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think that my writing process, I approached like most things, which is to get it done, you have to have a routine. So I'd have the one place where I write, and I'm going to write at this time of the day, every day, this many pages. And that is just like a surefire way for me to experience writer's block and burnout. And so I think that like getting past that for me is really about diversifying the creative process, like maybe writing in a coffee shop, and not necessarily having a time of day that I write. Maybe I write when I'm inspired. And also being inspired by other people being creative. I talked about like really loving to see performance art. Every time I go to a show and I see actors and singers and dancers and any kind of performance, that inspires me to be creative. That gets my creative juices flowing. So I think it's all about just environment for me, making sure that I'm being flexible with the environments in which I'm writing, as well as being open to experiencing just the beauty of creativity all around me.
Yes, I think again, movement and seeing other people enact and, watching can also, pump up the juices when it comes to creativity. I love that idea of like going to coffee shops. I usually just move around the house when it comes to when I'm like, maybe okay, let me move from the office to the kitchen. Let me move from the kitchen. Let me go to the garage. Let me go to the backyard. Like maybe the sun. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But yes, Angel, same question. What keeps you motivated when it comes to writing?
Sure. Normally I'm a pen and paper girl, so I rarely, when I begin writing, I rarely use a computer, laptop, or anything. I rarely do it. But I will say, for creativity and motivational purposes, I just started to use my phone wherever I'm at. If I'm in a laundromat, am I at the grocery store? If I just get like a spark of an idea, like, let me write that down. And then I'm pulling out pieces of paper out of my purse and pen. So instead of me having like a designated time or a place, I found for me, I could be any place. So if whenever I get that spark of creativity, like an idea, I just write it down. Instead of normally I'm like, oh, I'll wait till I get home. So I sit down, then I write. But for me, I can literally be anywhere and I'll just pull out my phone, pull out a piece of paper, and just write down whatever idea I had. Then I go back and combine it with what I've already previously written. But instead of me sometimes maybe becoming unmotivated, what has helped me is reflecting back on other material I've written. So that kind of keeps me going, like, okay, Angel, you did write that, you did publish that. Because sometimes I may feel like I want to give up again, like, oh man, I'm back in the trenches again, So I grab that book, that I previously wrote or published, and it'll motivate me and encourage me, like, okay, girl, you got this. You needed to remind yourself, and that has really, really helped me. So just being reminded of, from my past work, and again, just literally just writing, not finding the perfect time for me, how I used to operate. I used to do that. Let me find the perfect time. But I kind of, moved away from that, and that really helps me a lot. It really helps me. So
I definitely think time is, time and place. It
yeah,
seems to you really focus on place, you're focusing on time. I love that, that dynamic that, really it's about the time and place, and being fluid with both of them when it comes to writing. Same thing same thing to you, to Michelle. What keeps you motivated? I know you said you have 8 other books ready to go for me. So what keeps you motivated getting these new ideas and putting them pen to paper?
So I'm gonna attempt to show this to you. So bear with me here. Okay. This
A briefcase.
is a briefcase and it weighs about 20 pounds. So that's my whole writing life with actual pen and paper. Now I love that I can just take my phone, my iPad, or my laptop. It was a big transition to go from pen and paper to like laptop. Like it took me some time. But I would say it actually happened probably mostly because I had to spend a lot of time in the hospital. So I would spend like 14 to 16 hours in the hospital. And that's all in the book about what happened and how I got from there to here. But it was really actually finding the transition because it was just a lot easier to just carry my laptop with me and just start writing with the laptop. So it kind of was this process of pen and paper to laptop. And now I can take my laptop or my phone and I can just write anywhere. There's something kind of, but I not to contradict myself, but I can't tell. Oh, we just went to the dollar store.
Please let it be more notebooks.
Look, I'm going to say the word y'all. Look, y'all.
I'm loving the show and tell. I'm loving the
Yes.
Okay.
and can I just say I was not laughing at your briefcase. I was laughing at the look on Winnie's face.
Listen, you pulled out a briefcase. I was like, I know not. I love it.
I have been writing since my teenage years. I told you, Winnie, I have 8 books, and most of it is poetry. I started out writing poetry. I know you would never know that because all I do is talk about coffee and write about coffee, but I actually was a teenage poet. I was very goth back in the 80s, and that's what I wrote about.
Oh my goodness. I love that. I love the briefcase. I'm now thinking, do I need to get a pink bedazzled briefcase and just put all of my notebooks in it? Because that's amazing.
I'm fired.
As if you listen, I might be going to Amazon right after this.
I I bought that.
Notebooks for 98 cents.
You
Don't go
guys,
to Amazon.
I
No,
bought
not
that
notebooks, the
briefcase.
briefcase.
I bought the briefcase when I was 18. 18.
Goodness.
18. Okay?
What?
18.
It looks very loved and in beautiful shape.
I know.
And it will stay
My-
that way because this is my prized possessions.
No, I love that. But no, I'm definitely, oh, no, Shay, I'm definitely, the Amazon search is for the briefcase that's pink and bedazzled because I'm,
Do it. I want to
That
see
is-
it.
yes.
Let's
And
see
hey,
this
I just
for
love
Winnie.
that. Yes. And of course, RA, I want to ask you too, what are, what keeps you motivated?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Oh,
I'm not even lying because I don't always have that like personal motivation. Like I don't know if I'm just like a glutton for attention or what, but I rely a lot on, I mean, I have friends, like there's a whole dedication in Ashley Terrace to friends that I have told on multiple occasions, like this, I wouldn't have gotten this far without you reading it and you encouraging me. I'm so grateful of that. I never really have a problem with the stories, like at least the initial like kernel of it. That's always going through my mind. Sometimes it needs a few revisions to get to something that makes sense. But at least the start, like you said, 8 books, like they're all up here. They're all here. And I don't even write them down. I never think to do that. I just pray that I'm going to be able to return to them at a later time. But I guess the biggest thing when I was really pushing myself to get through it was just finding ways to keep it fun and to make it comfortable and give myself the time. Like I would go on little writing weekends a few years ago. Like my husband was so gracious to allow me to use our money to just hold up in a hotel for a couple days, order DoorDash, watch Roku, and write. And I got a few good chapters done doing that, and just keeping it fun and keeping it enjoyable.
that. And I love that everyone has it really does just kind of circulates to you, your time, your place, your space, both mentally and emotionally, to just keep yourself motivated. And knowing that, I think a lot of writers who are trying to publish think they have to, okay, I got 3 months, I gotta write this and be done with it, and then go to editing and then be done. And it's like it's all a process. And your writing journey, everyone's writing journey is different. I think I tell you guys that like life happens, and I'm not going to stress you because life is happening to be like, hey, where's that chapter done? Where's your have you finished? You haven't? Okay, well, we have to talk. Like, no, things happen, life happens. And just letting, I think a lot of people forget writing is still an art form, and it's still very fluid. And there are some, like, I also do artwork, some pieces that have taken me 10 years to finish. Some pieces I'm looking in my closet right now that are still unfinished and probably will be for the next 10 years. Sorry. But you go at your pace, and when the book is ready, you'll know it, you'll feel it. When the manuscript is ready, you'll know it and you'll feel it, and you'll know what steps to take next. So we do have a few more questions. This one comment was from Caitlin. Hey, Caitlin. She wanted to ask, can all of you give your elevator pitch of your book? Elevator pitches, I know they're either 10 seconds or 30 seconds. I'm going to give y'all 90 seconds to tell everyone about your book that you're publishing or that has been published. And of course, I'm going to start back with you, Tia. So tell us about Question of Affection.
Oh, this is good practice, Caitlin, because I haven't done my elevator pitch yet. The book is coming in August.
Yes. Surprise. We colluded together to do this. Pop quiz for everyone.
Right, exactly. But like I mentioned, it is a romance novel. It is about a character who is very self-aware and introspective, and really exploring the bounds of intimacy and what that means for her. She's kind of reinvestigating like what it means to commit, what it means to have attraction, and the bounds and the boundaries where her attraction may lead her. And so that is the premise of the book. Of course, there are some other themes in there surrounding family and acceptance, but primarily it's about a character who is questioning where her affections lie.
Okay, Oliver, that was
I
great.
know.
Yes. Yes. Well, okay, Angel, I'll let you do it for our workbook because
Okay.
you've been on a roll.
Okay, I'll try my best. So are you are you an aspiring writer or are you a seasoned writer? If you are, look no further because I got you. For writers who dream. Okay. So this is our me and come on. This is me
Yes.
and Winnie structural guide. We are here to help you to become the best author writer that you can be. This is our new release. This is an interactive workbook geared to strategically help you to increase your writing. We have an amazing prompts on here, insightful prompts rather. Exercises, expert knowledge. We're teaching you how to write compelling characters, navigate your narratives, your storytelling. This book, you need this right now. Right now, you need this workbook today. It's going to bless you. It has a lot of information in here from start to finish. It's an amazing tool, structural tool. You can do it. You can use it at your own pace and for writers who dream today, right now.
Yes, writing dreamers. I love that.
.com today. Get your copy today from
Yes.
Wednesday.
Trust me, my other pitch has been if you write, it's good for you. So that was a lot better than what I've been telling people the last past week. And for those who don't know, the book was published last week, Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. So tomorrow will make its first week anniversary.
Oh, yay.
Super, again, just amazed and so thankful for Angel for writing or co-writing this book with me. It could have happened without her. But now to another amazing writer, Michelle. Let's talk about your republishing memoir.
So the title is Dream Epically. So talk about writing and dreaming, so that intertwines there. So the elevator pitch it's going to be really simple. It's a love letter to coffee, and it's about love and loss, grief to growth. So it's everything you want to read in a personal journey, and you need it in your life just as much as the workbook. You need to read it, and you need to read Tia's book too. So
Yes.
and RA's. So I'm supporting everybody's here. So everybody.
Yes. Yes. And as someone who's read all the books, yeah. Please, yes, they are all amazing. And of course, last but not least, who our next actual book to be published in June of 2025, R.A. Barber. Tell us about
Thank,
your first book in the Ashley Terrence series.
thank you. Yes, so Ashley Terrace series. Um, it is about a family-run hotel. It's set in Charleston in the 80s and 90s, and about the lives of the owners and their employees. And like I got the idea years and years ago, when I was still working in service, and it occurred to me that especially working in hotels, was the last stand of like the upstairs downstairs, like the you know haves and have nots. Like, you walk into a hotel, especially like a high end hotel, and there's all these people walking around that you see but you don't see, and they're there to make your experience, your stay, as wonderful as it can be. But they have entire lives outside of what they're doing right here. And so these stories started coming to me of what what these people could be, and it morphed into something that I'm aspiring to encapsulate the entire 90s all the way up to 2000. And it's been really fun to do it. I'm really excited. I don't have the physical copy yet, but I do have the on my phone. That does not look as good as I was hoping it would, but it's still a point.
Right.
Yes.
You brought your briefcase. You brought the actual book. I brought out my phone.
Yes, listen, we're doing Wins Books Publishing Show and Tell. I love it.
Tia, what do you
That's going to
have?
be the next panel. I have,
Yeah.
what do I have actually? Let's see. I got a paper crane. That's my shirt. I'm going to write on it later. So,
Yes, I have an
yes,
inspirational card for you all, the warrior card.
warrior. Okay, see, Tia, you just upstaged my.
I
Well,
mean,
I actually have a good show and tell.
Angel down there, like, no disrespect to myself or anybody else, but had the best elevator pitch. Was like that was rehearsed and ready to go. I was like, you want me to go after that? Like, I just need to turn my camera off.
Oh, no,
Like I said, I was like, this was a pop quiz because everyone is going to have to do this eventually, especially when we're doing events. So this was your first round. Everyone passed. So, but yeah, Angel, you knocked that out the park. She was like, baby, I got the book, I got the pitch,
okay.
I got the boom, 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 bullet points, everything. I love that.
Thank you.
Yes, and I'll give a short, because I have too many books, give a short elevator pitch about the God Scion series. It's about a prince named Roderick battling through time and space, fighting gods and goddesses with and against his own family, racing against time to make sure him and his family can both stay safe and survive in the world. So that's my little elevator pitch about the God Scion series. And of course, if you guys are interested about any of these amazing books, check out winsbookspublishing.com where you can find out more. And we had another question, again from Angela, about how do you handle criticism from other authors, especially since your writing is so personal to your heart? What is your process to ensure that you are keeping your writing authentic but able to take feedback? Ooh, that's a good question.
That is
Yeah, okay. Yes, okay, Tia, I'm putting you on the hot spot.
Angela is coming with the heavy hitters, isn't she? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Because I haven't published my book yet, I have yet to get feedback from other authors, but I can kind of speak to what that's felt like from the editing perspective. And I think that, kind of like I was saying earlier with my approach to editing, I think about really the intention behind what I'm trying to say in the book, right? That's kind of my starting place. And if the intent is not well received, which is like causing that negative feedback, I'm sort of thinking back to how I can better tell the story in a way that gets that attention to come across. So I still want to stay true to the character. I still want to stay true to the story, but I may need to build around that character or build around the story in a way that will kind of make sense to the person who may be offended or may not get it, or what have you. So the best I can offer is just like, remember your intent. If your intent is to have this character have this particular arc and portray these particular developments throughout their storyline, stay true to that. But that doesn't mean that you can't find new ways to make that intention known. So I think that's how you can kind of stay true, but also like accept feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I think it kind of circles back to, again, when we talked about authenticity and, making sure that both you still have your own voice and then, it's not being overridden by someone else, and having the space to also, again, voice your opinion and voice that pushback if there is any, for anything you get. Speaking about, voicing your opinion and, creating your own words, Angel, what do you have for anyone who, How do you
Yeah,
handle criticism?
sure. I had to learn the hard way because, again, since I had such high expectations, I wanted everyone to read my material and get the same, feeling I had. I wanted them to see my work through my eyes. And I learned the hard way that was not everyone's truth. So I had to learn not to take things personal, really not take it personal, especially if I ask a trusted advisor to take a look at my work and critique it, give me honest feedback that their intentions for me were good. So pretty much what Tia say, the intentions that their intentions for me were good. They just want to help me by perfecting my manuscript. So with me learning that the hard way, it took a toll on me, but it worked out because I was able to still move forward in my creativity without feeling, restricted. Like, oh my gosh, they don't like it. That, all ends fail well, forget it. It really kept me motivated to understand, what? Don't take this personal. They don't see it the way you see it. It's okay. Well, how do they say it? You eat the meat. Well, how do they say it? You eat the meat and spit out the bones type. Yeah, that's what I had to do. Eat the meat and spit out the bone. So whatever I felt like I was able to relate to as far as the feedback, I kept it. If I did not relate to it or if I did not receive it, I rejected it. So I guess it was just per person, but I would just say don't take it personal. And I know that could be challenging for sure, but try not to take it personal. Try. So that's the best advice I could say. Don't take it personal.
I know. And again, I think it kind of gets hard because, again, this is your writing. These are your book babies. And,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't with you through those years and those months of editing and those months of having to put it down and pick it back up. And,
Trenches.
you have, yeah, they weren't in the trenches with you. You're like, you don't know. It
Yeah.
took me 8 years. It took me
It,
3 years. And you saying, I don't like it.
yeah.
Okay, you come write it then. So,
Right.
you have to understand, like, I learned it too, like, not everyone's gonna, not everyone who reads fantasy reads your fantasy. Not everyone likes time travel. Not everyone likes fantasy where the main characters are royals, or even likes your writing style. And that's okay. And kind of differentiating between just a rude or mean comment versus actual criticism. That
Mhm.
criticism is meant to, again, engage and help build your writing, or point out, say, maybe things you can build upon. Speaking of that too, Michelle, you talked a bit about, people asking you, like, girl, when are you going to edit this book? So, how I think you might be the best one to answer, how do you handle criticism? Especially because this literally is a memoir. It's your story.
Yeah, so that's kind of like my ammo, so to speak. I'm like, well, it's my life, number one. I lived this, I went through this, this is my experience. And so we'll use coffee as the example. Not everybody likes the same coffee. So it's okay if you don't like my particular coffee. I'm okay with that. There's lots of other coffees out there. But um, when people would come at me, with editing, like in my head, I was like, but did you like the stories? Like,
Right.
so did you like what I wrote?
Yeah.
You know, uh, just because I misspelled a word, it didn't take away from the story. Did you enjoy the story? So, so that's kind of one of the things that I like kind of feel that it's a little bit more of a confidence builder for me, especially because I am doing this so late. It is my life, it is my story. I did experience this. Um, you know, so I kind of have that like as a little notch in my belt. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, okay, if you don't like it, that's okay. Like I'm okay with that. Like at first I was really afraid. Like I really don't know how the reviews are going to go, and that's a whole conversation for like another time. So Winnie, I know you're going to have to walk me through it. I'm not putting it out there because I don't want the negative reviews, but I'm just saying, if it does happen, I might need a little therapy. So
Okay, don't worry. I'm here for everyone. Trust me, I've gotten all of them. I mean, I've had people review my book and say, I didn't read this in order, so I was confused. So I can't give it more than 3 stars. I was like, okay, well,
It sounds like a you problem.
yeah. So sometimes you're just like, okay, looking at what, again, differentiating between criticism and if they're actually trying to be just mean or hurtful or rude. A lot of people don't understand or know the whole publishing process. Like, y'all, we've been doing this for over a year. Like, this is not like a 30-day thing. Like, it has been months and months of work. So, and again, people don't see that. They just see the end product. So it's, taking it with like, okay, this isn't criticism. I can't take this to heart. And then when it is criticism, saying, okay, well, let's see how I can incorporate it maybe for my next book, or, see if it's something that I do want to take in to my writing. So again, the biggest thing I say is always differentiating between if it's criticism or if it's just someone who's just upset because that's not the book they thought they were going to read. It's like, well, sorry, this is the book I wrote. This is the book I published. And again, too, with URA, um, probably too from like just having beta readers or early readers, what critiques, how did you take that, especially with a book that is so dear to you and you've been working on for years too.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, like I'm in the same boat as Tia. Like I have not had a lot of like professional opinions on it. But everybody does have opinions. I have been really lucky to have a lot of positive feedback, but there's also been, suggestions and things. And one thing that, pops out to me is like, I'm going to pick on my husband a little bit. I know he's watching right now, so I hope he gets a laugh out of this. Just spitballing ideas off of him. And there was one part towards the, no spoilers, but towards the end of the first book that I was really struggling with how I wanted to get where I wanted. And I was telling him what I was thinking. And he's like, I see where you're going. I like where you're going, but what you're saying does not physically make sense. What you're saying cannot happen. And early in the process, like that equates. So you hate me. So you hate me in my writing. Like, I had, and I think, the closer the person is to you, the more apt you are to flip the table. But
Yes.
but obviously it came, he has been my biggest supporter, and it came from a place of like, I want to help you get to where you are. So I guess the two biggest things that I would say when it comes to any criticism is, one, treat any criticism like a Christmas present. Like when you open it, whether you like it or not, be gracious. Don't make a scene Christmas morning, and be willing to chew on it. If you don't like it when you first read it or when you first are told it, sit back and see if it makes sense later, because my husband was 100% correct. And what I was trying to do was silly and didn't make sense. And I changed it, and it was for the better.
Well, I want to get the behind the scenes about what what part of the book he was like.
You will laugh so hard.
Uh-oh. That means I probably will, because again, reading everyone's manuscripts, and I'm the biggest champion for you guys and your writing, and I believe it's amazing. That's why I agreed to help publish these works. And again, I kind of tell even other like writers, like, we can't determine what people are going to like, what people aren't going to like, but if you have a good, strong manuscript or plot or story to tell, you're going to find the readers who love it. It doesn't matter where they are. You're going to be the exact book they've been looking for, and they're going to get excited, and they're going to read it, and they're going to love it. And then sometimes it falls into the hands of people who are like, I'm not too sure. Like, this wasn't my cup of tea. And that happens. I'm pretty sure all of you have had movies or works or books that you've read, and you're like, baby, this is trash. Actually, I'm gonna put a pause on this. This was not my favorite. I definitely know I have. There's been books that again, I'm always thankful for books that are gifted to me that I've just been like, this is hard to read, but I, you know, it's Christmas. Let me thank you. I'm just gonna sit it over here and I'll get back to it. Thank you. So
But but sometimes those books that you set aside or those ideas you set aside and you come back later turn out to be the best. You never know.
that's true. It's the greatest thing about books is that they don't expire. They can stay for years and years and years, sometimes years and years on a shelf, but that's a discussion for another day.
That's fine.
But yes, but yeah, we are almost at our time. Anyone in the chat, if you guys have any other end questions or last minute questions, please drop them in quickly. Because again, we could really be here all night yapping, but as y'all know, I got a bedtime, and I will start one. I will start slowly closing, and then the other, and then I'll just start to slowly shift out of the screen, and you'll be like, "It's really good," and you'll just hear snoring, and you're like, "Okay, yeah, it's time to go home."
I have a friend who says that she turns into a pumpkin at 10.
Actually, I'm gonna start using them. Like, actually, listen, 10. If I'm still awake at 10, miracles are happening. That means I've been roped to do something.
We got my launch party.
Not...
We got my launch party coming up, and I expect you to enjoy yourself.
Yes, I will be awake.
It says it ends at 8, but there can always be the after party. Like, this is a major milestone.
Yes, and if you see me yawning in the corner, just let me be. I will. I just need to compose myself. I'll text Michelle and be like, "Hey, do you got any coffee recommendations? I gotta be up for another like 3 hours."
I got you, Winnie.
Yes, thank you. Because I know I'm gonna need. But again, I thank you guys all for this amazing writers panel. This was so great, and I think we had such a great conversation. Before we leave out, I want y'all to tell everyone about what are you doing creatively. Again, talk more about your book if you would like, and then where people can find more about either your book, your writing, or just any of your creative endeavors. And I'll start with you, Tia.
Okay, this has been so much fun. Can I just say that my first panel has been so fun. Thank you, Winnie. Thank you all. But you can definitely look for my book, Question of Affection. Like I said, it's coming August of 2025. Check out Wynn's books so we can get more information on that. You can also follow me on Instagram on my writer page at Tia Lachey Writes. And then if you want to hear my podcast, I'm talking about things that are intuitive and deep and scorpion like me. You can listen to that on Spotify. It's called Soul Sister Series podcast. It also has a Facebook page under that same name.
Again, I have been an amazing guest on that podcast. It really is such a treat and just full of love and life. And Tia, if you ever want to be an ASMRist, like your voice is so soothing. Like I listen to like your like daily or your weekly intuitive thoughts. I'm like, yes, I just need to have you like tapping a vase, being like, hello everybody. So if that's ever something you want to do, trust me, you will have a subscriber with me.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Winnie.
You're welcome. And of course, next up, Angel, what do you got to share? What's coming up for you?
And so, Tia, thank you all for this amazing opportunity. I really enjoyed myself with you all. And Tia, I do want to say one thing. Tia, you do have that type of voice that makes you think. Does that make sense? Like you make people think. Like that is a good idea. Like, oh, I've never seen it like that. So keep that in perspective. So, yeah, just to go back to the, for writers who dream. And I forgot to add that we are coming from the spectrum of nonfiction and fiction. So it's a twofold writing tool. You can follow me on The Angel Marie on Instagram and also on Facebook on The Angel Marie. To get a copy of our me and Wendy's workbook, you can go to winsbooks.com. And then you can also check out my podcast, Scrabble House Podcast, on Spotify, which is also, again, an inspirational / faith-based podcast.
Yes. Thank you again, Angel. And again, you see how she whipped up that book? Yes. She was like,
you got to whip
ready.
it out. In case you forget.
Ready.
That's forget, you know?
Yes. And of course, to our punk rock star, Michelle, what do you have coming up? What are you doing in your neck of the woods?
So again, thank you. This was awesome. I love that there's so many other podcasters. Like, I'm so excited. Now I want to listen to everybody's podcast. So we all have to like get each other on the shows. My book comes out in July. Super excited about that. As far as the podcast is this month, because it is my birthday month coming up, I have 3 episodes dropping. And by the way, Winnie was an amazing guest. I had Winnie on the show. I fell in love with her. We talked an hour and a half after the show. And then the next thing I knew, I was signing a contract with her. So that's how her episode went. So like I said, I've got 3 episodes coming. I'm super excited. It's about the writing process. So the podcast is about the writing process. So I talk with authors, mostly horror, but it's vanilla horror. It's very safe. It's not scary. It's not gory. It's because I want everybody to listen, and it's all about the writing process. And coffee fueled stories. And so like I said, 3 episodes coming, and I'm super excited to have my book come out with Winnie. She did an amazing job with the cover and with the artist. So I am so happy to be here. I look forward to more panels and celebrating more authors with Wynn's books.
Thank you. And yeah, I think for like everyone's story of meeting me, it has been such of like, hey, let's sit and chat for an hour, and then I'm emailing you. Yes, and then I'm just emailing contracts, and I'm like, let's get started. And I've enjoyed every minute of it with you, Michelle. You've been so amazing, and y'all don't know, Michelle has been knocking it out when it comes to her editing. Like, she'll be like, here's another one. I'm like, yes, girl, get it. Like, she is truly a punk rock star. I love it. And of course, to our final rock star of the evening, R.A. Barber. Tell everyone what you're doing, what plays are coming, because I know you got some plays coming out soon or things you're directing. So please let people know what you're doing and what's happening for your book too.
Well, I unfortunately do not have a podcast, so I think that needs to change at some point. But we'll see if I get the drive to do that. I am more than happy to be a guest on anyone's podcast, so please reach out to me for that. No, with the book, I mean, I've talked about. I'm just so excited for June to come to actually get to hold it in my hands. So excited about that. Like you said, always have something going on at the theater. Please, you can look us up. We are the Pine Tree Playhouse in Winsboro, South Carolina. Look us up on Facebook under Pine Tree Playhouse. We have this for the summer musical. We have Anastasia coming up. Very excited about that. That'll be coming in July. For Christmas, they are doing. I cannot think of. I'm going to get killed over this because I cannot think of the name. It is but I know what it's about. It's a retelling of A Christmas Carol with a little girl as Scrooge, and I cannot remember the little girl's name, and that's the name of the play. So, Lord, I'm going to get killed. But but in the fall, I am directing Frankenstein the musical, and I am yes.
Jonesy are like, bet.
I am stoked for that. So that's what I have coming up this year. And please do follow me on author R.A. Barber on Facebook. That's pretty much and Instagram. Those are pretty much my only socials right now. But I hope to add more as things progress and get more successful.
Yes.
And again, I've been your host and moderator, Winifred or Winnie Tato. And it's been, again, just a joy and treat to be with all of my author. Well, not all of y'all, because there's a lot of y'all now. But with some of y'all tonight and, just, chatting about writing and publishing. And I couldn't ask for a better panel to kind of kick off this series with. Of course, as you see on the bottom of your screens, for more information about all of these amazing authors and their writing journeys and their books, please visit winsbookspublishing.com. For more about my writing, my books, please visit Wins Books blog. Winsbooks.blog. Listen, I have like 4 other websites in here. And I'm like, which one is it? So winsbooks.blog for my blogging. Also, I do host and help produce Wins Literary Lounge, where I host a spectacle of amazing other writers. And we just have a nice chill time talking about their writing journeys and how they are, progressing through the world as a creative. And then I have a bunch of other things like a online art marketplace I co-founded with one of my great friends, Amanda Hicks, called The Feria, that will soon launch May 27th. And again, also Wins Artistry, where I do artwork and do traveling art tours. So I have a lot going on. But again, I do thank all of y'all for taking time out of your very busy schedules too, because y'all are busy working bees too, and I love it. So again, thank you, everybody. Please, if you guys do have any other questions for any of these authors, please reach out at winsbookspublishing at gmail.com or info at winsbooks.blog. There we go. If you guys have any questions or comments for these authors too, because they're always happy to get questions and comments too about their books or their writing. And again, with that, I'll close it out. Thank you all for this amazing live and writers panel, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.